And 3, 2, 1, boom. And we're back with another episode of Crack Gamers. This episode brought to you by Zenreal Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and accessories at zenrealclothingco.com, and be sure to use offer code SOCCERTEES at checkout for 20% off select items. But if you're not willing to spend the money because COVID times we are in, just check out the free Zenreal radio playlist, zenrealclothingco.com. Also, if you are located within the region of Scarborough, Toronto, Canada, be sure to check out the Portian Bakery. They've got delicious empanadas. Some of the favorites that Vish loves are chicken, tuna, spinach, pineapple, and the one he can't eat, but I can eat, pork. We love it. All right. They've also got like the best donuts voted by BlogTO within Scarborough. And bread baked daily. Okay, yesterday.
Freshly baked daily.
Freshly baked bread. I like that. Thank you for the clutch win on that ad there. Okay, so greatest of all time. I believe it to be so.
Yeah.
Khabib.
We're talking about Khabib, yeah.
Oh, I should pull that up a little closer.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. So you think that... okay. We checked out the Khabib fight. And it was so dominant. I really thought that Justin Gaethje was going to pose some sort of problem for him. Like everyone, like the way
you're telling me that.
So his like rival was Tony Ferguson. Not because like it was a close match, but they've tried for 5 years to put that on. And then Justin Gaethje fought Tony and destroyed him.
Okay, I see.
Right. So like It was like, okay, if you can do this to Tony, what can you do to Khabib? So like it looked very.
But what was
like,
Tony's
style?
Style, but like what was his win ratio? Also all wins or?
Yeah, but they were all okay. So I want to get into this. So right now there's this like at the end of that fight, he said that he wouldn't fight again because he promised his mom.
Yeah.
You know, because like he wouldn't fight without his father. This is the first time he ever fought without his father, and he's like last time ever. And then he said at the end that he wants to be considered the pound for pound best fighter in the world. Right now, John Jones has it. Okay. But so John Jones is also undefeated, and people are still claiming him, John Jones, as like number one. But technically, in DC, his like teammate made a good point. John Jones has a DQ because he hit this dude with an elbow. So DQ disqualification.
Oh, disqualified.
Yeah. So he hit this guy with the incorrect elbow, and then it DQ'd John Jones. So he has like a record of like a bunch of wins, no losses, 1 DQ. Whereas Khabib is 29-0. So like what DC was saying is Khabib never made a mistake. And also what I want to put in is like, so you're talking about Tony and like what was his thing like? Sure, he went on like a winning tear, but he got wrecked in like a lot of his fights. So like he takes a lot of damage, and so did John Jones. John Jones takes a lot of damage, but Khabib like has never taken that much damage.
Right.
You know, like their faces got wrecked. Like I've never seen Khabib with a wrecked face. You know, because he doesn't generally like because his fighting style is like grappling, right?
He's grappling. Yeah.
So it's like you're not gonna like stand and bang.
No.
Whereas like John Jones, he's had some wars, and same with Tony Ferguson's had a lot of wars. But Khabib's never been in a crazy war. He had one close split decision, but that split decision was like really early in his career, his UFC career. So I'll just put that behind him. But other than that, like no, there's been no. He just dominated everyone, you know. So what do you think? Best? Would you consider him best of all time?
I think like from his ground game, it's really really good. He was solid with that.
Yeah.
Every time, any kind of submission he does is like he's really good at like in the ground game. Like he knows how to move.
Yeah, like mauling
fluid.
them, right? Yeah. So I was gonna say that this reminded me of UFC 1 and 2 when nobody knew jiu-jitsu, and then Royce Gracie destroyed everyone, took very little damage, and destroyed them through jiu-jitsu. And the thing is, like, okay, so it's funny, like right after this win, they were doing like this Gracie breakdown, and they're like, "Oh, the triangles, what did it?" Blah blah blah. And like, I get it because like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is like focused on grappling, right? We all know it as like the grappling thing, but like Khabib's not actually a BJJ fighter. He's a sambo, wrestling, and judo fighter. So like in judo, which is the original form of jiu-jitsu, it had triangles in it
Mm-hmm.
already. So it's like, it's weird that they're kind of trying to claim it, you know, they're like, oh, triangle, you know, whatever. But it's like, yeah, you guys popularized, you invented. So, okay. So with those styles like judo, jujitsu, and judo, wrestling, and sambo, it's all about the top game. Like you put your opponent on the back and then you dominate on top.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
grappling, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Which is what Khabib always did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas BJJ is all about the bottom game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's kind of weird to be like, oh yeah, like triangles, and like, you know, to try and claim it as like, you know, like I think BJJ is important because it teaches you how to fight off your back, but like it's not as top game heavy. Because like in judo, if you're on your back, you lose. So that's why they try not to get on their back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like give credit where credit's due, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But Firas Zahabi has a good point. He's like, it's all just grappling anyways. I'm like, okay, true.
Yeah, if you that's the main category, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, but like to like hype it up in one direction is kind of weird,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, it's really more of like, you can attribute that to his judo and his like wrestling and his sambo, you
Right.
know. But like, it's funny how like when he fought, when Khabib fought what's his name, prominent BJJ guy. Oh man, he was crushing everyone. Forgot his name, but RDJ.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot the full name. All right, anyway, so he fought this dude in Brazil. I feel so bad that I forgot your name because you're super super skilled. But anyway, so he fought this dude in Brazil, and he wore this shirt that said, if BJJ was if Samba was easy, it would be called BJJ.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it was like a big controversy because like, and then like they're like, oh, the BJJ guy's gonna get you, and then he crushed that dude, like crushes everyone.
Mm.
So it's like, it's making me rethink my whole like grappling theories now. You know, like he always did, like
Yeah.
Khabib did, but like learning things like sport BJJ mindset is very different than like combat BJJ mindset. You know, like we're doing like a lot of like spider guards, and like it's basically you wrap your leg, you grab the gi with one hand, and then you wrap your leg around that arm. But it's like you never see that in a fight. You get smashed, you know, or like there's these things.
But the thing is, like, even with that, the competitive, there's no like, you can't grab anything.
Which one in UFC?
You're saying like grabbing the gi, right?
But there's no gi in
There's
like
no-
UFC,
Yeah.
or like combat, like yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And especially because it's like ground game, like on your back heavy. It's like, yeah, maybe there are, because I feel like there's like a huge like BJJ push right now. Like everyone's like, oh, you want to learn
Well,
grappling?
it
You gotta learn
became
BJJ
hugely popular and
because
then-
of UFC and like
yes. Once it became popular, it becomes a selling point, right?
yeah, totally, exactly.
So you kind of want to
exactly.
put it up there again and again because
Totally.
you want people to come to your gyms, right?
For sure. And like, it's interesting too, because like a lot of the schools that I've visited and gone to, they claim to know self-defense, but then you're kind of in the class and you're like, I don't think this would work in a like a situation, especially when you start doing like these crazy inverted guards where you're like upside down on the person, and basically like your head is where they're like, if the person's kneeling, your head would be where their crotch is. So you'd be on your back inverted,
Right.
almost like you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's one of their guards, right? But it's like, yeah, because if you're playing a sport, it makes sense because you don't want them to pass your guard, because if they pass your guard, they get points.
Yeah.
So if you can invert in a weird way where it's not passing the legs, you still get the points, right? Makes sense. But like, I feel like you'd get like if you inverted, somebody just like punch your face from underneath, you know, from on top, in between their legs underneath, you know. And I think like Khabib, what he's showing us is like real grappling skill is like it's not really just fighting off your back, you know. I don't know, made me really think about that one. And Justin Gaethje was saying
because
too,
he never got on his back.
no, never. And he did one time in his career and he pulled off a triangle on that guy. Not this one. Like he was on top and then he transitioned to a triangle.
Yeah.
But in his old fight, this bigger guy like took him down and he was on his back. And then people were like, oh no, we've never seen him on his back. And then he pulled off a triangle. It was like, oh, okay, so he has skill on his back.
Yeah.
You know, but it's you just don't want to be there.
But that's not the position you want to be. Yeah.
Because if you think
You
about
want
gravity,
you want to have the upper hand.
totally right, and that's what like wrestling and judo and sambo teaches you, especially combat sambo. So like everyone like talk bad about the reason why people talk bad about sambo is because there's no real belts in it, and I like that. You're just
Right.
just white or blue because like which side, which corner,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You like legitimately
But that
you
was the
can't.
only reason to really combat it, like
What do you mean?
go against it.
No. And so it's like it's untested then. So it's like how can
Oh,
you
I see
compete at these levels? You don't really know who's a good combat sambo fighter or not. There's like internationally recognized masters of sport, which is like the highest honor you can receive.
Yeah.
But it's like you compete to get that. So if you compete and you destroyed everyone, you get that. But I guess like yeah, because there's no levels. It's like where do we rank you? Can you put a black belt combat sambo fighter against like a black belt BJJ person? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of this guy Fedor?
No.
Okay, so like he's also a combat sambo person from Russia because like combat sambo is a Russian thing, and it's like what they teach the military people, and like him and Khabib were super dominant in their times, and yeah, they attributed it to combat sambo. But again, we look at BJJ and we're like, oh, this is the answer because of the popularity of the marketing.
Yeah.
But then, but like the marketing and stuff, and then I'm trying to look through the marketing, and I'm like, I don't know anymore. Like BJJ was good in '93 when nobody knew it, but like when you know it, when you all know it, the combat sambo dude's crushing you.
Yeah,
but then it makes me wonder, like, will that happen if
how
combat
long
sambo
has
become?
really combat sauna been?
I think like since World War II or something like that. I don't know. It was made.
Right. But like in the mainstream world.
Oh, like no, never. It was never heard until like Khabib.
Only
and then,
Khabib.
Khabib Fedor.
Right.
Like, what is this? Unless you're really into martial arts,
Of course.
you know,
But
then you know about sambo.
yeah, I understand that. I think there will be some.
But
more like.
But the problem is who you're gonna find as a good teacher. So like I was
That's the thing,
when I was looking for schools, like because I was like, okay, I need to learn a grappling art, and then I was looking at like there's so many BJJ schools in Toronto,
course, yeah.
but there's like one remote instructor who teaches out of his basement for combat sambo, and I was like, it seems kind of weird, but you know, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not in the mainstream, and I guess there isn't a lot of people that
do it. Yeah,
do it.
And yeah, because like how do you make money off of it? It's so
Yeah.
niche, right? Unless you go to Russia and train. But
Yeah, well, you gotta go there.
so I found this out. So Justin Gaethje in like the embedded episodes, he was saying how like if there's 7 titles, world wrestling titles, 5 of them will come from Dagestan. Where yeah, so it was like, oh, so they have like a see, like in my head, I'm like, because it's not marketed as much. Like, who's ever heard of Dagestan? So it's like you're thinking like, oh, like wow, this guy came from the mountains, and
right.
you know, his father taught him and a bunch of people, and it's like, oh, like they have this secret weapon, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, no, elite wrestlers fly to Dagestan all the time to train there for like the Olympics and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's like known for its wrestling.
yeah.
Makes sense now. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, I would consider him pound for pound #1 of all time. And like it's interesting too.
Well, what does that mean? All time, like forever?
No, unless somebody beats it, and then they're
Right.
like, oh, okay, this guy's on the tear. He's better.
Okay.
No, but actually, you know what? It's funny that you say that because GSP in his interview, he was saying like, they're like, do you think Khabib's the best of all time? He's like, there are so many best of all time because all time is
Yeah.
like when I beat Michael Bisping, that was the best of all time. When John Jones beat this other dude, it was Daniel Cormier, it was the best of all time.
Right.
When Khabib beat this guy, it was the best of all time. When Stylebender beat Costa, it was the best of all time. So it's like the greatest of all time moments are always like transitioning.
Yeah.
But I get it in terms of like the rankings. Like there's these people who like rank martial arts outside of like they're the marketing team basically.
Right.
And they put John Jones at the top because he's undefeated. You know. But like yeah, that's what Khabib's fighting for. It's really like it's arbitrary, you know. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. What really comes with that, I'm not sure, but I think he's gonna get that Hall of Fame thing or whatever they say. So it's like,
Oh yeah, for sure. No, yeah, a lot of people get into that, but I think you have to be out of fighting for like 5 years or something like that.
okay.
Because like I guess they give you time to
But
like
what does
come
that
out of
do though?
retirement.
Okay, you be a Hall of Famer. What does that really mean? Yeah, after that, like,
Nothing. No, nothing. You get like nothing. Well, GSP said like now
is
you
it
can go do
just
movies.
it's more of a, like a respect thing?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, for sure. You'll
but
always be immortalized as long as the UFC is around
yeah,
of being a great fighter.
right.
But like GSP was saying it more like because of the way he conducted himself in the ring and like his amazing tear, he can go do movies, he can have commercials, he can have sponsorships. Like he's gonna have so much money after this.
Did he have stuff during
Oh
this
yeah,
time?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Probably, yeah. Of course he did.
And but what's cool too is I was watching his. So he reminds me of Hickson Gracie, where Hickson would like not do. He was like arguably the greatest of all time. So Hickson, because he was undefeated too. But he fought in a time when nobody knew grappling really, and he never fought anyone crazy.
Yeah.
Like Khabib fought like monsters, but like Hickson never really fought a monster. But yeah, so his sponsorship, he'd
But
never.
he was also like was at the start of the UFC.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It was
like,
way back when. So
Yeah.
like nobody was really good at
yeah,
grappling at that time. Like if you take a person from like back then and put them now, they'd be like, I've heard this compared before. This isn't coming from me. It's like they'd be like a blue or purple belt now. Like their skill level now is way beyond.
That's always happened.
But that's
right?
always happening. Yeah.
There's always that runner that's gonna beat that 10 seconds or
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah,
every
forever.
year something like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. Where's it going with that? Oh yeah, Hickson. So Hickson never did a sponsorship for alcohol because he's like it doesn't align with my beliefs.
Yeah.
And like if you look at not Connor, if you look at Khabib's no, I'll tell you why I thought of Connor.
Okay.
But so if you look at Khabib's sponsors, they're all like
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
they're all like Muslim sponsorships
Yeah,
and like all that. And I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like they're all like very religious based, you know, because he's super into that. So the reason why I said the Connor thing because I laughed. I was watching these like funny moments with Khabib and children, and they're like, oh, take a picture, and then he's like, yeah, okay, Khabib, and then this kid's like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I like this guy. You don't know who I am? And he's like, no, but his dad wanted a picture with him, so he's like, you're on my team, and then he's like, what's your name to the kid? And the kid says his name. He's like, okay, my name's Conor McGregor. And he like walked out. It was just so funny because he was like, he has that feud with him, but he told the kid like, I'm Conor McGregor. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, you're saying?
No, the reason I laugh was because Gracie says he doesn't do alcohol ads.
Oh, and Connor's like
Connor
all about
is his main thing
ads.
is always
Yeah.
I remember that thing he was promoting his whiskey or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it was just like the
totally.
opposite.
Yeah, totally.
It's
totally.
just-
Yeah, for sure.
But he's Irish, so it kind of makes sense.
It does. But Connor did put a good tweet out when he retired. So like respecting Khabib. So it's like, that's cool. I like that. You know what's funny about the ideologies thing we were talking about, like the no alcohol. So in order to be like a professor in BJJ, well, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, everyone's got the professor bars now. Like it's basically the white stripes so like there's like a black belt, there's a red bar, and then on the top and bottom of the red bar there's white stripes, right? And like everyone's like rocking those now. But what they're meant to be is like only certain people get those bars because to be a professor, like you have to follow a certain code. That's what the Gracies put out there. And I noticed with Brian Ortega, he doesn't have the 2 bars. And I'm like, I think it's because of like his lifestyle choices. You know, he's like, he has like a beer sponsor and he's like, you know, he's like repping like a lot of gang stuff all the time, swearing all the time. But they're very strict about that. Like to give out those bars, it's like you can't swear. You have to like always hold yourself higher.
Right.
You know, and I like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, they're creating their own like code of ethics, I guess. But then it sucks because marketing wise, now everyone just puts the white bars on their own thing, and like they don't really know what the original meaning of it was.
Yeah.
You know. I'm just like a nerd for this, so I was like watching all this stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, but like a lot of them, what I find like kind of weird now, especially because so Hickson talked about this. He's like, jiu-jitsu is losing its effectiveness because in favor of efficiency. So it's becoming more efficient to get points, right? That's why you have those inverted guards. But like practically, it's losing its effectiveness. So he's on this whole mission to like bring it back to its like combative state. And this isn't the first time, but a lot of like BJJ practitioners I know, they're like, oh, I don't even watch MMA. And I'm like, then why? You know what I mean? It's like kind of weird to me. It's like we're learning like the origins of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu are like steepled in combat. And then you don't even watch combat now? It's weird, right? You know, marketing.
So why did they get into it in the first place?
So, okay, great question. So, there's Carlos Gracie, and then there is Helio Gracie. So they're part of the same family. Helio is all about, or Elio, depends on. I'll go Elio because I think that's how they pronounce it. Elio Gracie, he would do Vale Tudo fights. So what a Vale Tudo fight is, there's no time limit. You just fight until there's a winner, right?
Yeah.
And then that was the origins of UFC. Now there's like 5-minute time limits, but like before there was not, like matches would last like 45 minutes, 2 hours, like just until you found a winner. And like that's why BJJ was so good. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was so good. That's why I differentiate BJJ and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So because Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, it's like what they do is they wear you out. So yeah, it'll be an hour, but like you're using all your energy. I'm not, and then I'm going to submit you. Okay. And then Carlos Gracie, he's like, we need to like monetize this. So we're going to create sports. So like if you get a mount, you get like a certain amount of points. If you pass the guard, you get a certain amount of points. Okay. So it's supposed to simulate fighting, but in favor of points, right? But the problem is like when points were introduced, it's like, okay, well, I can game the system if I do this kind of maneuver. You know what I mean? Right. But these people are wizards though. Like I'll admit, like rolling with like black belts, you're like, whoa, you can read my mind. Like they they know if they tip you in this way, you're gonna plant your hand down. They're gonna push the hand out of the way. You're gonna fall. Right. You know. Yeah. But like, in terms of like combative ability, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird, eh? How like the world falls into marketing.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
I know. Yeah.
It became, well, I guess when UFC started to become big, that was the main thing, was the BJJ, right? That was the one that was.
Yeah, because nobody ever like seen it.
Yeah.
You know, but arguably, so back then there was no weight classes, and like usually people learn one style, right? So there's a guy, I think his name is Dan Henderson, in UFC 3. He wrecked Royce Gracie. He was so much bigger, and he was a wrestler. And then the only reason why Royce Gracie beat him is because this guy was like, I'm destroying this guy. I need to stop. Like he was just pummeling his face and like whatever. And then, yeah, he just like kind of laxed off the gas pedal. And then Royce Gracie got him in, I don't remember what it was, like a triangle or something, or armbar maybe. But yeah, so like wrestling seems to have gotten, I don't know, like I'm going to go with what Faraz said. It's like, it's all just grappling now. You should just learn all of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that makes more sense.
Because you can't really differentiate now. Because so the reason why I bring that up,
I mean, even who you're competing with, it's like they all also learn different things too. It's not like everyone's learning only one thing.
Totally, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, like Khabib trained with a BJJ black belt for the Tony fight because he wanted to like, because Tony's like a 10th plan jiu-jitsu guy, so he's like, let me see what you're doing.
Yeah, you need to understand your enemy.
Yeah, totally.
So
but you don't
so you can maneuver
flag
around those sort of things.
True, totally. Yeah, I agree. But like, what flag are you going to represent?
Right.
You know, and like, because the reason why I brought that up is like, there's a guy, Josh Barnett, who, if Metamoris was like this grappling competition, and Josh Barnett was a catch wrestler, and he fought against Huron Gracie, who's a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu guy, and he got him relatively easy. You know, and then what they're saying is like, yeah, but don't forget Josh Barnett's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it's like, all right, come on, like, you know, like let's just market ourselves, you know. I mean, like, yeah, totally, he is a black belt, but like, what are you repping? Like, what's your foundation?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of Mark, so he gets our vote, pound for pound, greatest of all time. No?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
the
know what these
dominance,
things
bro.
mean, but sure.
But like looking at the dominance, I mean, like
Well, I will tell you
every
that what
fight,
I saw from him was brilliance. Like it was
brilliance.
brilliance.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what that was.
And it's funny how every time you look at the person at the end of the first round, they look exhausted.
Yeah.
Like Justin Gaethje looked defeated. I was like,
he was
ooh,
moving so much. I was like, this guy's gonna get tired real quick, and that was what
true.
happened.
Or I was like, kind of like, is Khabib gonna get clipped? Because Khabib's so wild
I mean,
in his striking.
there was wild tosses from that guy, like wild throws. That
Khabib or
no, if the other guy was
Gaethje?
yeah.
Yeah.
So there were some that hit him.
Yeah.
So those are scary punches. So
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, don't get clipped. Oh God. But yeah, he couldn't get him down in the beginning though, eh? Did you notice that?
because he was keeping his distance.
Yeah.
He knew that he's not going to win the ground game.
Yeah.
So he's trying to keep his distance and doing like these weird things.
But then the pressure from Khabib was just so heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I want to say this. So, yeah, he had a broken foot during that fight, and that's pretty impressive. Like, you're gonna fight with a broken foot.
I think it was all that, like especially what happened at the end with him like falling on the ring,
Cry. Oh yeah.
crying after his win. I think it was all those pressures that added up to him.
Yeah.
It was the broken ankle thing and what he had said to his mom, his dad not being here,
Dying of COVID.
and if this is gonna be the last fight, I have to win it.
Yeah.
That pressure was there.
And,
so it's like
and the weight cut too.
the
Was
weight
close.
cut.
You
like
saw him at the
every
weight cut,
single
eh?
every single thing he had some issue.
True.
Or like he had to deal with that. So that was
All
like
the
all the
pressure,
pressure that was
yeah.
added on.
And then when he cried, he just let it all go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
true.
that was what that was. It was like the relief
Yeah,
of
it's
all
done.
that.
It's done.
Is done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you've accomplished your mission.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to think about it like from his perspective, like what that must have felt like. That huge surge of like relief.
Yeah. And fighting in Dubai, like his
True.
So it's like there's so many things.
Because they love him there.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like
there's a lot of pressure.
But it's funny because he holds it together so well, eh? Like his face doesn't break.
Well, yeah, that is there, but it's
What's underneath? And like,
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
What I think it's like important to highlight the fact that his dad died of COVID. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
2020 is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those Tony memes are so funny with like now the Armageddon can be canceled because Tony versus Khabib will never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the sportsmanship at the end because I think he knew Gaethje, what's his name? Right?
Yeah.
He knew
Him?
like what was up here, like what was on the stake for him for Khabib. So like there was a good sportsmanship.
Yeah, totally. And when he said like I'll never forget, like I remember when we cut weight together in that time, I was like, oh, okay, you're really bringing up the sportsmanship.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like after, I get it though, because like after the thing that happened with Connor, he said my dad's gonna smash me when I go home. So it's like, yeah, he probably got like a big reprimanding, and then, yeah, and then that's why he's like super sportsman like now. But I wonder too, like like Connor said those nice things. So when the thing happened with Khabib and Connor back in I think it was like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, a few years back. Yeah.
Yeah. So his dad invited Connor to Dagestan.
Oh.
As like no, you're gonna be my guest.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's like sorry for what my son did.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty like sportsmanlike of you, like there's no bad blood here, know. But apparently, like in Russia too, like if you're a combat athlete, you're treated as like royalty, like they love that over there.
Right. Yeah. So the thing is, like, they're just people, fighting, and it's a sport kind of thing.
Yeah. But the media puts it.
The media wants the hatred.
Yeah, why can't we just fight?
But the media wants that because then they have something to sell, and people like that.
True.
Because they want to like cheer for one side or the other. It creates a more hype and more people wanting to watch it.
Totally. So I was watching. So when you say that's so funny, because like I was watching the interview with Justin Gaethje and Khabib, and Justin Gaethje in the interview was like, if I get against that fence and I'm on the ground, I'm screwed. Like, I'm done for. He
That's-
said that.
That's what
So it's like,
happened.
okay, true.
Yeah.
But then in the promo cut that they put,
Mhm.
they're like he's never fought a fighter like me.
Yeah,
And
so
I was
they're
like,
gonna do that.
all right, bro.
But that's not
like, you
him
just
necessarily.
said-
That's that they would do the edits and
Yeah,
use those
totally.
things, use
Yeah.
those pieces, or they would tell him what to say, like
I-
because that's I don't know if it's a UFC kind of thing, but like
No,
they
actually,
have to.
that's funny that you say that about the edits, because like in Indian Matchmaker, Tara's listening to like a podcast with the girl from there, and like in the show they made her out to be so bad, right?
Mhm.
And then she was saying that they cut out a lot. The person that they made out to be a bad person.
Yeah.
She's like, they really needed a villain, because like they cut out a lot of what happened.
Mhm.
Like they didn't show much of it, but they pieced it in a way to make me look like a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, that's totally what they did with Justin Gaethje. You know, like, oh, I'm the answer. It's like, yeah, maybe. And then we saw it. It was like, no, 2 rounds, bro. Like there was, yeah, it was interesting one.
Yeah.
And any final thoughts?
No, it was good. It was.
I'm actually really sad that it's over, because I wanted to keep seeing him fight.
No, I know that. Yeah, because it was a shock that
Yeah.
nobody knew that this was gonna he was gonna.
Yeah, it was a shock.
It was a
I
shock.
thought it was gonna be 30-0. I was like, okay, we got his last fight, but we all didn't know it was the last fight. So it was like, yeah, you're right. That is why it was so sad, because it was like we expected at least one more,
Yeah.
and then he was like, no, one more.
Well, no one
I
expected
promised
a
them all.
retirement.
Yeah, no one.
No
did.
one
Even
expected
DC, his like close teammate, didn't know. He was
Right,
like, whoa,
yeah.
I was shocked too.
So this is what I meant. Like this is all he kept inside, and he.
True.
And that's why he was like, I was like, why are you going after those gloves? Like trying to remove his gloves real quick. Then he understood.
Yeah,
That
true.
was- That was it.
I was wondering about that too, but there was like two schools of thought here, where like, was he going to be better? Was he going to use the fuel of everything? Was he going to use everything as fuel, or was he going to let that overcome him? And he
Mhm.
used it as fuel. We saw like
Yeah.
the best performance of Khabib's career, arguably. Like, I've watched all his fights. I'm like, oh, this one was really dominant,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And like, if he stretched it out for 30-0, I don't know. Like, could you do that twice? You know,
Yeah.
because you don't have your dad.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's
his
what that
head-
was
his
like.
coach.
Yeah, his dad wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
That was the main.
That's why his mom said, "Don't do it."
Yeah.
You know, but like everyone sees Javier Mendez, right? Like the guy from AKA, like with him, but it's like, no, his real head coach was his dad.
Mhm.
Javier like taught him how to strike. You know,
Right.
but his dad was the real, like, that's why he called it father's plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
Yeah.
because
Right.
it's like grapple.
Mhm.
You know, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sad. But as a positive note, Javier Mendez, the coach, like he became like his, I guess, second dad, because like they were super close, like his dad
Right.
and Javier. He posted this video after, and like he's like, "Oh, so you're gonna come teach with me now?" And then like Khabib's like, "Yeah, like I'm like, what's next for you?" He's like, "Train the future generation now."
Yeah.
Like his dad did.
Right.
What a all right, so what a crazy storyline. Your dad is like, I think he was a championship judo fighter, and then he taught his son since birth. Like there's those videos
Mhm.
of him making his son train with bears.
Only in Russia.
I know, right? Only in Russia. It's so funny. And then like your kid goes on this 29-0 tear.
Mm-hmm.
Even before that, he was fighting in combat sambo.
Right.
Like the 29 was just the internationally recognized score.
Okay.
But he was fighting
Of
as a-
course. Yeah. Well,
know,
before that.
the whole time. And like, and then now your kid becomes this great champion. Then he takes over your school. Like, what a crazy storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I watched this thing, like he doesn't want his kids, like obviously they're gonna learn how to fight, but I don't think they need to follow his path. Like as
Mhm.
a yeah. Interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the future holds.
It could be.
Yeah. It could be
Family.
yeah. Cause
Yeah.
he was also saying like I think it's his cousin. He wants to like get him up to that level now too, so he's gonna coach his cousin.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But speaking of marketing, we watched the first time for me. You've been watching these. What do you call them? Not town halls.
Oh, the debate.
No,
The
no, no,
debate.
not the debate. Oh, that one's ridiculous too. But the
Just political things.
yeah, what no was that thing?
Oh,
Where they
rallies.
rallies. Okay, cool. So like I finally watched one. It's so funny because like a lot of people were saying like I don't know if this is intentional on his part or like it's just like accidental, but like actually like everyone always like calls like Trump like racist and like a Hitler number 2, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like watching it, I was like, oh no, he's using the same tactics, like that mass corralling, confuse everyone, and like we're all against the mainstream media, politics. Like you have like a common enemy,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
It looked.
pretty-
It is very prevalent in the way he talks. Why I can understand where they relate it to those sort of things. But he really hides around it without actually saying it, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's
yeah, totally. And it's like, but like with that, it's like you're really just like manipulating the thing, or like
or it's what the crowd wants to hear.
right. It is what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
it's like, but how did they not hear it? Like it's what they want to hear. Like it's all right. Yes, it's what they want to hear.
But they also ignore parts.
That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's like weird. Remember, he was like, "Oh, I'm in Erie, and like I wasn't gonna come here."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Now I gotta work for you guys." Like, "Oh, Erie, please vote for me."
I was like,
And then,
"Oh."
and it's like, wait, didn't you guys hear that first part though? You didn't want to come here.
Yeah, I
you
know.
know? And then that other thing where he's like, nobody likes me. Nobody likes me here. And he was just waiting for them to be like, "We love you." And he's like, no one loves me. We love you. No one loves me.
Because a different one, they did say that.
What?
That they replied back saying, "We love you."
Yeah, but no, but
A different rally. That's why he was reusing it.
Oh, okay. But
And
they did say it, and they started chanting it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at that
this one too.
When he said, "You guys don't love me," and then
Yeah.
so it was like
He's
manipulation.
manipulating
Yeah,
them. It's a
manipulating them.
manipulation.
No, we do love you. It's like, no, you don't love me. We love you. Let me hear it louder. We love you.
It's a very ego-driven thing. It's like
Yes.
he wants to be loved.
He's using the he's appealing to people's like id.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like it's all just like instinctual ape stuff, like right? Like, and then it just made me think like,
Well,
wow.
we are so.
No, totally. But it's like nobody's like, how come we're not using our higher order processes here? We're not using like our critical think. I didn't feel any critical thinking.
Well, the rallies are very much.
It's almost like a concert.
Like these people are already going to vote for you.
They're already going to vote for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I really think rallies are already like these people are going to vote for you.
No, true. Because who's going to show up to a rally if they're not going to vote?
Already your fans. It's not.
True. So it's just marketing. It's a photo op.
Yeah.
True.
It's not really.
True.
Like if you really want to. Like debates are where you go for like trying to talk to the rest of the world.
But, all right. So now speaking of the debate, that was really weird. It didn't even seem like very catty. That one part where he's like, Biden was like, to think Donald Trump is going to lecture me about these. I was like, what the hell? Like
I got his
that was
point.
so
But yeah,
it's so like demeaning.
Well, the whole thing is right because
like you're gonna lecture me. You think you have the intelligence? It's like what? No, just stick to the issues, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. That's what the thing was. I feel like Biden was trying to say, okay, for instance, Trump keeps blaming, oh, these are issues are happening in Democrat states.
Okay. Yeah.
These are not, a Republican issue or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the debate, when they have the closing statements, Biden's like, I'm everyone's president. I'm not just a Democrat president.
Right.
I'm America's president.
Okay,
I'm running for it to be American. So that's the difference there.
Right.
Because you can directly see that he doesn't want to deal with Democrats kind of thing.
Right.
So.
Weird.
So it's like at the end of it,
he's like super polarizing. He's like, yeah. Trump is. I mean,
Trump. Yeah, where Biden's more like, okay, should we go back to what it was like before him? That's where Biden stands at, like we're viewed as.
Right. Totally. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
We'll see what happens November 3rd.
It's funny, like speaking of that too, like I'm watching the Kanye West thing with Joe Rogan now, and I'm like, this is also weird. Like if, like when Joe Rogan asked him what his policies were, and then he like like skated past the policies. He's like, well, what new idea that you have that's different than everyone else? And he started talking about like how God called him to it, and it's like it had nothing to do with.
Wait, isn't that what? No, but that's what he just said. Was I've heard that many times in like presidential things.
God called me.
Yeah, like especially in the Republican side.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's more like
interesting.
God's calling or whatever, something like that, to be run for president. Like, it's not a new line; it's been used before.
Right. But I mean, he's like leaning on that.
No, I know. Of course, he's leaning on that. Yeah. But I really feel like I don't think he wants to be president. Like, yeah, it's a marketing.
I don't
tool.
think he understands what it means to like fully, like what you'll have to like be in these meetings and like. Yeah. When Oprah's like, he was saying how Oprah told him like, oh, you have to brush up on your international affairs. He's like, huh? But it's like you should have known that, Yeah. I feel like America is truly the media capital of the world. Like they are like the masters of marketing. Like that's how their entire society runs. Think about like cutting promo clips and like all this stuff. I think maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by it. But like, yeah, like you have a reality TV star who's a president.
Yeah.
So like how much more can you go in the evidence of like US being the media marketing capital of the world? It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, only in America he can be president. Like anyone can be president, basically. That's what it's trying to say. But
no, that's also where the best video games come out of, the best TV shows, and like
there's so many great
Hollywood's
things
there. No, but like from a media marketing standpoint,
right.
it's like it's the entertainment capital. That's what it is. It's the entertainment capital of the world. I mean, we're talking about the most boring thing ever is entertaining the presidency. You know what I mean? Like, and then you see like Canada trying to compete with it, and it's just like you could see through it.
Yeah, we're not at the same level.
Yeah, you guys are trying too hard, Yeah. Even AOC like doing the Twitch thing.
Yeah.
It's like, but I see Jagmeet Singh doing the same thing. He's
he could do that, yeah.
But yeah. It's very like media marketing, like trying to be the little brother.
What I feel is even with the AOC thing is more like.
If you don't know, AOC played on Twitch, and then to like get people
streamed on Twitch, telling people to go vote. But also, even though the general audience on Twitch is young, I feel like, it's also more like to influence the next voters that will eventually, if she ever runs for other offices, that she would be, like she's getting the electoral.
She's doing
votes.
The groundwork now.
She's doing the groundwork,
that makes sense.
Populace,
because then they'll remember her in the future. But that seems so superficial, I don't know what her policies are. I really like,
Well, I think there's some.
Who she's presenting herself as, like I like that, but like I don't actually know what.
No, but you have to somehow get your name out there to what you're trying to say and what you're trying to talk about. There's a good thing on Netflix.
Oh, okay, what?
It's about her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, I'll check that out.
So it's an interesting thing.
What's it called? Do you know off the top of your head?
I can't remember off the top of my head. If you just type in AOC or Ocasio-Cortez, you'll probably find it there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. With the Jagmeet Singh thing, when he's like showing off his like Punjabi poutine. Yeah, he's like cooking now. He's doing like a lot of live streams. It's like, and then we did that thing like, well, I guess this is also media marketing too. Like,
well, he's also running, right? Like BC had their elections.
Oh, so okay.
Probably also why he's putting it out there.
He's from BC?
Well, not technically, but they need a position for him to be. He has to hold office somewhere in order to be NDP leader.
Oh, interesting.
So they put him in BC.
Oh, okay. That's why he was doing that, like, just vote. I was like, why are you doing this right now?
Yeah.
I thought it was just
even though he's not from BC.
Oh, so that's why I was confused. Because like he put this thing on his like thing, like I voted or something like that. And I was like, are you trying to tag on to this like American election thing?
No, the BC, that's what I said. The provincial elections are there in BC.
But I didn't know him as a BC person.
Yeah.
He's in Ottawa. So.
Yeah, he's in Ottawa, but his riding's in BC.
So then he'll move to BC?
No. So. In order to go to, like if he loses a seat in in BC, then he doesn't have a, like, how can he be the leader of the NDP party when he doesn't have a riding anywhere?
Oh, okay.
That's how it works.
So he just needed a riding.
Yeah, you need a place.
Wow. All right. Interesting. Okay. This whole political system seems like a weird game to me.
Yeah, it's a game. Yeah, it's always a game. It's a game.
But it's funny because like when you're like a little kid, you never like think about these things.
Yeah.
You know, like you're like, oh, yeah, it's just the government runs on its own and like blah blah blah. And then you get older and you actually look into these things. You're like, these are weird, broken systems.
Yeah, but this is what we create, and it's. I would say currently the only system that we.
Oh, of course, yeah, because that's what's been around. That's
right.
what is around.
Well, there's different types of systems around the world, right?
No, totally.
But all made by us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what works the best? There was a good line in the Netflix movie I watched yesterday, the Chicago 7 or the Trial of the Chicago 7. It was some. I can't remember exactly the line, but it was Saoirse Baron Cohen's character who said it, where, like, do you, something about like getting rid of the power and like of the leaders in politics, right? Like,
okay,
like by I forgot the exact line they used, but it was very much sound like, if you just hear it in one term, it sounds like you want to just get rid of the person in leader in power, right?
Okay,
like through any means, kind of thing.
Okay. It's like, but, is it like a blanket statement, like abolish the police?
Something like that.
Okay.
Like you're not for the government, or like you're not for America, or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But then his reply was like, do you? I think it was more like, do you want to get rid of this government or something like that, right? And it's like, well, we do it every 4 years. Like we do it already here. We do it every 4 years.
True.
So it's like,
yeah. You can reform the government every 4 years. True. But nobody's there who can shake the system up. And I guess technically you'd say it's Trump. He's the only one who like really shook the system up, you know, because he like completely out of the system.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I think in like voting you can change the outcome, right?
No, totally, yeah.
So that's the thing. Again, how do you get influence? Like you have to be somewhat knowledgeable, somewhat to be able to read through the lines of these sort of things.
True. And I think
most people are good at that. I feel like most people are because they
really.
Yeah, I think most people are when they are actually living lives and have to deal with paying taxes and these sort of things. Yeah. They understand what's going on in their life. That generally is impactful to everybody else too.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
When these protests, these things are happening, there is a push for it, but only if they want those changes, they have to vote. And right now...
Okay, so yeah, totally. You finish the thought.
So right now what they've seen is... Well, in America, it's been a lot of people already voted already.
Right.
Early voting has been a huge number.
Right.
I will see what that turnout is, actually. So.
Yeah, but what the crazy part is, even if he, like, let's say Trump doesn't get the popular vote like last time, he still wins the correct...
Yeah.
Like, places.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you say that about, like, voting, because, like, I was telling you this before the podcast, but I'll bring it up again in, like, Port Union, the waterfront. There's like, all this spray paint, like, talking about, like, political issues. And it's like, I like the passion. I get it. I mean, I did similar things, but, like, positivity. Like, I wasn't, like, I wasn't defacing property to that extreme with like some negativity. I was just trying to put positivity out there. So I get like that you want to spread your message, but like if you're actually like my messages were like, be kind today, but like he was doing like, you know, like rent is slavery,
right,
you know, and like lobster killing is genocide, everyone go vegan. And I was like, okay, you should probably just create a political lobbying party or something. You should create like a coalition.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't, like if you're really passionate about these like issues, don't like spray paint them everywhere, you know?
That gives it a bad light.
It does, yeah, because you look at it and you're like,
you can protest
jerk,
having a sign and speaking your mind.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it's just like when you mark up things, it has a bad connotation, has a bad light. People don't view that
totally
as a good thing.
But unless it's positivity, like, I think that if you just drop like positivity bombs, Like those are cool. Like smile.
Yeah.
Everyone enjoys laughter or something.
Right,
Something like trite statements. Those are cool. When I see those, I'm like, that's awesome.
Well, because that's not really creating a line between people.
There's no division.
There's no division.
There's no like you're not creating like in group. Sorry if you're listening to like these wines. Athena's sitting with us, getting pet by Vish. So like, yeah, you don't get these like these us versus them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I like those. Those are cool, but like when you start creating us versus them, it's like I just don't even want to listen to you at that point. I'm almost like there's something in me that's like, it's like if you tell me something like that, I kind of just want to go do the opposite.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're
that's
like,
very much
like genocide, or I'm going to eat some more lobsters then. You know, like it creates like a negative feeling. You know what I mean?
That just reminds me of they were doing it in front of I forgot it was some restaurant like a while back, and like the vegans were protesting outside of it.
Yeah.
The chef came to the window of the restaurant and was cutting up the
Oh, that's so funny. See what I mean? Like stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you're just provoking people now. Yeah. You know? If you're doing like positivity statements, general positivity statements, you're provoking no one. You're just like appealing to their altruistic nature. But again, like I did this young Yoda quote, it's like easier to focus on the negative than the positive because we're hardwired for survival. So it's like it makes sense. Like you want to look at the negative thing because like your survival instincts will kick in. It's like, I need to pay attention to this, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's an easy win. That's why like if it bleeds, it leads, like that kind of thing. But yeah, I also feel like people who do that kind of stuff are almost misinformed. Like you might know a lot about one thing, or you might just be passionate about one thing, but you don't know the full issue. It reminds me of like when they were doing that Abolish the Police like webinar, and then this person was like, hey, do you want to check it out? And I was like, oh yeah, what are their like stances? I'm just curious. Like, you know, that's a very like, it's a very disruptive idea. So maybe you guys have a point. Let me hear it. And the person's like, I actually don't know what the issues are. And I was like, so why are you repping it so hard, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like look into it. Like objectivity is the most difficult thing because you have to look at what you like, what you don't like, and then judge. But people just look at what they like. They don't look at what they don't like.
Yeah.
You know? And then they just rep that one side. Yeah. But if we did that for everything, I think we'd have a smaller society. Like we wouldn't have so much like gigantic ape-ness going on. You know, like, yeah.
Yeah. But these sort of protests, but it's a different kind of, this is not like a war protest. Like the one in the movie was about the Vietnam War.
Right, that makes sense. Like, and yeah, okay.
They were protesting against that, but it was really shunned by the media or the.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the political parties, right?
It's just like Occupy
They're trying
Wall
to
Street.
silence them too. So that was what that trial was about. These are protesters who. They were trying to say that they incited the violence against the police.
Oh, it's the Chicago 7 on Crave?
Netflix.
Okay, if you want to check that out.
Yeah. So it was an interesting thing.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Yeah. Weird times we're living in. I wonder what.
We're not that far away now. We'll see what happens in America.
November 3rd? Yeah, that's not next week. It's one more week. So we got one more podcast, and then we'll talk about what happened.
Anything crazy happens in this week.
Yeah. All right. Final thoughts on that one? I got one more.
No, go ahead.
So we were talking about this before, and I just thought it would be important to bring up, but video games are nuts now. Like the fact that we're playing these, like, so I was cutting up that video of us playing Call of Duty, and I was like, dude, there's this whole world. We don't even realize it. We're actually teleporting our consciousness into a world. You know, by consciousness I mean active awareness, right? So we're actively aware in a world in a 3D space that we can control. We can pick up like weapons and like grab helicopters, and like we memorize the maps and like all that stuff, right? And it's like what we don't realize that we're living worlds within worlds, you know?
Yeah.
And then what you brought up was like, we've always been telling stories, but this is the first time where we can jump into somebody's like story.
Yeah.
You know, we can actually go into their imagination and like play around with it. Before it would like campfires, and then they would tell us a story about their lives, and then we'd like imagine it. But now it's like, as I tell you the story, you can interact with the story.
Yeah, basically, yeah, like they could lead us through what they want us to experience,
Yeah, trippy.
what they're trying to say in the story. Or I just remember, like, it just reminds me of like The Last of Us, right? Everyone hated it, but there was a message in there that was trying to be told by these creators. So it's
right. Right. They were trying to like, spoiler alert, they were trying to teach you like love your enemy, you know.
yeah,
you
like
had to-
hate is not gonna be good in like
yeah, because like they played it. So basically, the person that killed Joel, you play as that person, and then what you were saying that they were trying to do was get you to empathize with the person,
yeah,
and realize that she was only going after an eye for an eye.
yeah.
But then Ellie took it to the part where it's like an eye for like an army of eyes. You know, it's not just one person they killed. Like,
Yeah,
she killed everyone.
Yeah, where she's the bad guy
Yeah.
in this story. But can you accept that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's yeah. I like that was like the best thing I could think of, like, or the recent thing that was like, it was the creator that was trying to give us a message at the end, but in order to get there, we have to go through these different experiences to get there.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's the genius of video games now. It's like, it's so immersive. You can like really impart lots, because you're actually like, so they like, I can tell you one thing, right? But for you to live that out, it's like way different.
Yeah.
So it's like you're actually forcing these people to live out these scenarios.
Yeah, like you can now control the boundaries more.
Yeah.
And like of what you see and what you're trying to say, and you can experience, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're just telling a story, you can add things in the world, because that's what I was tend to do whenever
Right.
I read books.
Totally.
I added things
Okay.
into it
Yeah,
that was
of course.
not necessarily
totally.
written on the pages.
Because you're building the world in your
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So where in the game it's more it's there. This is what I'm seeing. This is the
Right.
boundaries.
Yeah.
So I can know exactly what he's trying to tell me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think we're in for an interesting future, especially with COVID, like ramping up like digital universes.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
now that we're not interacting and like going out in public, we're like seeing everyone through like digital spheres. I think that's pretty it's pretty intense. Like, even what was that one? I did that online interview, and I was wearing like a dress shirt, but he couldn't see my board shorts.
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's like illusions. You know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's like we're really living in a digital sphere that
Right.
needs to be managed well. But I think a lot of people are just getting on the digital sphere, you know, now that they're like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why you have like awkwardness. Like that one story, that person who didn't mute or turn off her video, and she went to the bathroom during her meeting.
Okay.
And they're like, we can see you. And it's like, yeah, it's like, because you're not adept in that realm.
Yeah.
But now we're being forced to enter that realm, so it's interesting.
Right. But also, people are getting more, like what's more like good ideas to like kind of make jokes around it.
Hey, what do you mean?
Like I seen some of these, because they still have school, right? They're doing online classes, so they would do different things. Like someone would like get
Pretend like they're lagging.
yeah, or
Yeah.
you know, like the South Park thing, or like like they're getting kidnapped or something. Like they would
What?
just
Really?
as a joke, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Because
And it's weird too. You have to think about your backgrounds. You know, like what your environment.
right, yeah.
What does that say about you as a person?
Yeah. It's now everyone's like a Twitch streamer, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. That's so funny. We're all like live streaming with each other.
Basically.
Yeah, I remember this one person, like, it's so funny. We were at like work, and they had to like, we were doing these Zoom calls, and then like all of a sudden their background changed, and then like not like digital background, like they actually rearranged things in their background, and the person was like, yeah, like I felt like I needed to like make it say more things about me, and I was like, wow, this is what we've come to, eh? Like before it was like his regular like basement background, and then all of a sudden you saw like it very like manicured, and I was like, that's weird. But it's like, yeah, we're in that zone now.
Yeah.
You know, weird world. And I saw like some of these job interviews too. It's like, must be comfortable with camera on in Zoom. And I was like, oh, weird. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird to also just talk to a black screen.
It's like a phone.
Yeah, but like you're
What's the difference?
visually.
I prefer the phone version because it's like now you don't have to like. I feel like so like I have the wrist sensor, the Garmin thing, and it's like take a breath, you're stressed, right? And I get that way when I'm on like the camera because you have to like because you know the whole thing's being seen, so it's like you have to really posture yourself well and like you can't like scratch your face weird. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like you have to very calculated. And that like kind of stresses me out, you know? Cause it's like,
it just reminds me of like I just way back where I had to do the like an ethics exam, but it was like online.
Okay, yeah.
And they like you can't like look around because it looks like you're cheating or something. So it's more it's like that too. It just reminds me of that. It's like okay, I'll just look like here because then I get I don't want to look around. It looks kind of sketch.
Yeah. There's so much more to be mindful about.
Yeah.
Feels more stressful now.
I would say,
because you don't know, like at least with like in person, you could see that their heads turned away from you, or like something like that, you know. But like now, it's like you don't know who's looking at you, and you're also if they have the recording on, it's the worst. Like when you see those like little red, it's like the recording, the Zoom session. It's for like later so you can rewatch it. But I'm like, all right, gotta be on the A game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's weird.
I don't think I like that.
But it's weird. So you know what causes anxiety? Like not anxiety. Like nervousness, like fear of presentations and stuff. It's like not being your authentic self. Mm-hmm. So like when we're doing Twitch or something, it's like I don't get nervous for that because it's like whatever. We're doing this thing, right? But like in a setting where it's like you're being judged, you're like, okay, I gotta say the right thing. Blah blah blah.
Like, those ads. That's true.
Yeah, very frustrating. But yeah, speaking of ethics, you're also CET now. Congrats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, officially, I guess.
Soon, November or something.
Yeah, when it's fully registered, I guess.
Yeah. And then the final story, I like to close this off with my shit story.
Oh no!
I was thinking I was gonna open with it, but then I was like, no, Khabib's
if you're
more
this
important.
far in listening, I think it's
then now you're gonna hear the greatest story of all time. So this is why you need to buy an iPhone 11 or 12. Anything from that generation beyond, where it's water resistant and like durable. So like I was in the bathroom, as most people do, they're on their phone, and then I went to go put the phone. Oh, like Athena's protesting because she doesn't want me to tell the story. So I went to go put the phone behind me, and then but there's like a string that I have just in case the phone falls, right? That's like attached. And then when I pulled it's like it worked against me there. So as I pulled my hand back, my finger got caught, and then it started to fall. And I was like, oh my god! And then I just slowly watched it fall into the toilet.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and if it was if it was a number one, that would have been totally fine. But it was a number two.
Oh, jeez.
And like the bowl filled up instantly with, you know, because like when you add stuff there, and then like I had to reach in and soap that sucker so hard for like 10 minutes. But like, you know what? That's why water resistant iPhones are super important, because soap and water is totally fine on it. So if you're thinking about getting a new phone, I highly recommend getting an iPhone 11 or higher.
Cool. Yeah, I just saw like this dude putting it in water.
Yeah. I love those videos.
I think he did 24 feet for both the 11 and the 12.
Yeah.
They both were still working.
I know, exactly. That's what I watched that video and I was like, okay, like this is the phone to buy. Why would you not buy a water resistant phone?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
And they were in there for about 20 minutes. Yeah. At least at 24 feet. He did it at different levels. So they've been in the water for a few times.
Yeah. And it's totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Soap and water. Yeah. All right. And that's all. So enjoy that story, that mental visual. Okay, so if you are in the Port Union area, be sure to check out the Port Union Bakery, Scarborough, Toronto. Tell them Socratic Gamers say what up. And then if you're there, also ask for Arvil. Be like, hey, is Arvil here? And they'll be like, yeah, he's in the back. And then he'll come out. And then you'd be like, what up, Arvil? I heard you on the Socratic Gamers podcast. And he'll be like, oh, snap. And he'll probably give you a big hug when COVID's over. But yeah. Also check out zenrealclothingco.com for all your apparel needs. Use Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. And be sure to check out the Zen Real Radio playlist for dope tunes. Dope free tunes.
Cool.
Free dope tunes, not dope free, because they're super dope. But
I got you.
yeah, they're free. All right, take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
Bye.